says, or if a chief minister says that this is not going to be valid in our state?
That will be construed as defying the constitutional spirits, and also at the same time instigating the people who has to contain the violence. The state government herself. Now the person who is in charge of the law and order situation in the state herself is fueling this kind of violence, leading to death of innocent people.
Why do you think Rahul Gandhi didn't speak?
I was equally surprised. Even Priyanka Gandhi was not present during the voting. There are huge pressure from the Christian community for the Congress party and other MPs to support the Waqf Amendment Bill.
Mr. Owaisi has said that now Sambhal, Gyanvapi, Mathura, they'll be removed from Waqf control, and there'll be an attempt to seize these because it's sensitive, and other religious properties.
Broadcasting around that the Waqf properties means the masjids, the dargahs, the Qabristan, these are going to be snatched away by the government. This country rules through a law. We are governed by the constitution.
You heard Mohammad Yunus's comment when he said कि ये सारा northeast का area कट सकता है if we decide.
He is totally misunderstanding the situation. Maybe he's not a matured politician.
The allergy is because you are from Arunachal.
The Chinese authorities should not create any kind of issue with regards to passport and visa. It will be in the best of the thing for the Chinese government to accept Arunachal status and let us be friendly.
This episode is powered by easemytrip.com. Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. My guest today is Kiran Rijiju, Union Minister for Parliamentary Affairs and Minority Affairs Minister. We spoke about a whole host of issues. Of course, the most important was the Waqf Amendment Bill and now an act. We also spoke about him being a Buddhist and a Minority Affairs Minister, about why the BJP doesn't have a single MP from the Muslim community. We also spoke about him prioritizing physical fitness as well as mental fitness in his life. So here's listening to this conversation with Kiran Rijiju. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Very happy to have you here. I've been pursuing you for almost a year now. Ki aa jaiye podcast mein. So I'm very happy you're here. Have you done podcast before?
Well, I did one. That was a year back.
So that's cancelled now.
Yeah.
Okay, very happy to have you here. And I was extremely keen, especially after listening to your speech in Parliament on the Waqf Bill. That was a phenomenal speech. Of course, you came armed with all facts and figures and things like that. But I liked that आपका जो style था वो थोड़ा appealing to the opposition and appealing to the maybe the undecided out there. So it was like, so you had this, I like the style that there was this aggression from one side, Amit Shah ji, Tejasvi, Nishikant and all, they were like very aggressive, and yours was like a toned down, appealing style, good cop, bad cop kind of thing was happening.
No, Smita ji, my character and nature, both are well known from long time. In fact, I was also known as a person who has a vocal power, not muscle power. Earlier days in politics, there used to be muscle power. Of course, that days are gone. So in the parliament also, aggression is required at times when there is a situation in the parliament when you have to enforce your viewpoints and all. But I prefer to speak in soft language, but sometimes I become loud when things require to put in the high pitch. But see, the bill itself is a very balanced bill. So I require to get the other side of the softer side also into the perspective. And of course, there are certain things which were there in the bills, which were harmful, detrimental to the national interest. So that required some kind of big push So I was kind of, as you rightly mentioned, mix of
Huh.
soft and hard.
Soft and hard. Yeah, I noticed that. So, just for viewers and listeners who haven't seen it, especially those who are sitting abroad, you must go into YouTube and watch Mr. Rijiju's speech, as well as the other BJP speeches, which was of Tejasvi Sambit, Anurag, Jagdampa Palji, Nishikant Dubey, Sudhanshu Trivedi, JP Nadda, Nirmala ji. You had like full on, like one battle formation. All of you came on out there. From the opposition side, there was Gaurav Gogoi, Akhilesh Yadav, Nasir Hussain Owaisi, Imran Pratap Gadi. Why do you think Rahul Gandhi didn't speak?
I was equally surprised. Even Priyanka Gandhi was not present during the voting. She was absent. And Rahul Gandhi came much later to vote. He didn't take part in the proceedings, nor did he speak. I feel that one of the reasons could be there are huge pressure from the Christian community for the Congress party and other MPs to support the Waqf Amendment Bill. That could be one of the reasons. And secondly, maybe he wants to play a safe game because this bill is a landmark bill and whatever you speak will remain as a record. So he played a smart game maybe, but for me it's not a smart game. This is an important bill where the important leaders should have spoken. And from our party side, I led the entire debate with the presentation of the bill, and the Home Minister intervened, and some of senior MPs you had mentioned, they also had a very good presentation on the debate. So leader of the opposition didn't speak. Well, that's up to him, but I was also a bit surprised.
What is the inside story? It's the Christian pressure that you think? Christian community? Kerala Christian community?
The Kerala Christian groups, with the influential groups, they had made it very loud and clear that this bill has to be passed. And the larger Christian organizations, which are all India based, they also made a very ardent appeal. That could be one of the factor.
Okay, tell me about the Northeast. How's this bill being received in the Northeast? Since you also are a prominent political figure from representing Northeast India, so please tell us about that.
See, this Waqf Amendment Act, which is a law now, this will be having its consequence mainly in Assam and to some extent Tripura and then Manipur. Tripura, the extent may be lesser, but Manipur, there are some issues. And Assam, by far, will have a larger consequence. The other tribal states like Arunachal, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Sikkim, mainly the northeastern states, are insulated from this effect of the bill because we have put a provision. The creation of Waqf cannot be done on tribal land, which is any land falls in 6th and 5th schedule of the constitution. So it will not have an impact on the tribal areas. And the 5th areas in other parts of the country, 6th schedule is northeast. Basically the character is same. So Assam and Manipur will have an impact, but impact means positive impact.
Okay. Yeah. Because we just did a whole bunch of podcasts in Chhattisgarh. Wahan pe bhi, if you know, like the tribal areas, there's a large tribal community. So there also this Waqf bill, people were looking with interest, even in Madhya Pradesh and all, because many of the areas, the tribal community is also scared now that what happens now. Suppose the Waqf community says, the Waqf people say that this is our land. So that also, this whole thing about Jal Zameen, you know.
No, of course, that is very emotional issue for the tribals. So you very well know the tribals are so much attached to Jal, Jangal, Jameen. And there are instances which have come before us that Muslim man marrying tribal woman and then getting converted and then finally creating that particular land owned by the lady as Waqf property. And once a Waqf property is dedicated, it can't be reversed. That is why we have to be very careful. In a tribal area, if the lands are declared as a work property, then it will have a forever status change. So that is why we had deliberately put this amendment in the parliament. And now some people have challenged that provision also.
Okay.
So the tribals will be raising their voice, and I believe that some of them will be appealing in the Supreme Court that any protection given to the tribals should not be challenged. And
Should not be,
tribal lands and tribal rights are protected by the constitutional provisions. So it's not that we have just inserted on our whims and fancies. We have aligned with the constitutional provisions.
What happens if states say that, which many of the chief ministers are already saying that we're not going to be accepting it? Is that constitutionally what is the position? If a state says, or if a chief minister says that this is not going to be valid in our state?
Now, these are political stunts. If a chief minister says that he or she will not follow the constitutional requirement, that means his or her occupation into the position of chief ministership itself is untenable, because any law passed by the parliament is for the nation. It applies to entire territory of India. So how can a person sitting in a constitutional position clearly, defying the spirit of the constitution? That is undone. We can't accept that. But as I said, these are political statements for political gains, to take a posture to please certain communities for political interest. And that is totally untenable, and we can't accept that.
But you're already seeing now, since the past week, street protests have begun. They've begun from Bengal, like many protests begin from Bengal, and then they go to other places in the country. Do you see this being contained only in Bengal, or do you see this rising? Because there are other states which are going to go to polls this year, and if it is a like a chingari, if it will, it's a spark that can result in political benefits, it might spread.
In the long run, whatever the Chief Minister of West Bengal and some of the political parties are doing will have a deep negative repercussions in terms of establishing not only rule of law, but its propriety of the constitution. Now, law and order is a state subject. Now, the Chief Minister herself in West Bengal says that she will not accept and will not implement this act in her state. That will be construed as defying the constitutional spirits, and also at the same time instigating the people. The violence which had happened in Murshidabad and other parts of West Bengal, and we do sporadic incidents elsewhere. These are the result of these unmindful political statements given by Mamata Banerjee and some of the political leaders, which is condemnable. I fail to understand that sitting in such high position, undermining her own position. Now, for example, the violence in West Bengal. Who has to contain the violence? The state government herself. Now, the person who is in charge of the law and order situation in the state herself is fueling this kind of violence, leading to death of innocent people.
Why do you say she's fueling it? What is she doing?
She is openly saying that she doesn't accept the law. See, Smitaji, we have to understand one thing. In democracy, any law passed by the parliament, it may not have 100% support within the house, because house is representatives from all the states, all the union territories, and the majority of the members come together and makes the law.
Sure.
Now, when the members make the law, it is a law of the parliament, means law of the nation. So, if you don't agree also, it is passed by majority. So, majority passing a bill becomes an act. She may not like it. She may not be aligned with our thought or the government of the day's thought. But then how can she that she will not, implement this particular law in her state? That itself is a questionable stand. How can she say that she doesn't, believe in this particular bill, and so she will not apply? She is bound by it.
How are the other states where minorities are in large numbers responding? Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Tamil Nadu. How are these where your government is not in power and minority has a how are you reassuring these states? Firstly, the people of the states that the rights of the largest minority in this country are safe, that they are not going to be victimized. Plus, how are the leaders of these states responding to
So
this?
first of all, when we say Muslim community, large section of Muslim community are wholeheartedly welcoming this act. The requirement for change in the Waqf Act, the necessary amendment which we have made, are in fact suggested by the committees which were formed during the Congress time. If you see 1976, Waqf, that inquiry report, and then the Sachar committee report, and then K. Rahman Khan report, that is a select committee again in the parliament. They all have talked about making the management of the work property in much more efficient, transparent and accountable manner. That is exactly what we have done it. And then the work properties in India are the largest work properties in the world. It is not only in the country. Some people keep saying that
After
the work
railways
property,
and
railways and the defense. How can you compare the defense and railway properties with the work properties? Work properties are owned, managed by private individuals. Railways is like the track, railway tracks, thousands of kilometers. We travel on that. The railways don't use it. They use it for us. And defense is for the people of the country to safeguard India's interests, safeguard its territory. So first of all, the work properties in India is the largest in the world. And despite having the largest work properties in the world, how come these properties are not being utilized for the welfare of the Muslim communities? See, the purpose is three, for charitable, pious and religious purpose. So, if so much of work properties are being mismanaged by few of the powerful people who are, in a very surreptitiously mishandling the entire work properties, and few families are enjoying the fruits of these properties, what about the 90%, the larger section of the Muslim community, the weaker sections, the children, the women? So what we have done is, we have made sure that the misuse will be prevented in future. And Smitaji, I must tell you, we knew it. We will have this kind of resistance because those powerful people who are misusing so much of work properties will definitely not give up easily.
Yeah, okay.
They will resist. And that is what we are seeing it. But what we are saying is, let people read the provisions of the Act and tell us if there is any provision which harms the Muslim community. Tell us. So Muslims are also Indians. Shouldn't we think about Muslim community? How can we leave aside one community and let all the irregularities keep on happening unchecked? We can't see that. We are the government of India. We have the responsibility to ensure that every citizen is taken care of, every community is looked after. So the people who are spreading this false news, all this unverified claims, and just merely broadcasting around that the work properties means the masjids, the dargahs, the qabristan, these are going to be snatched away by the government. This country rules through a law. We are governed by the constitution. How can anybody snatch somebody's property like that?
When the farm bills came and when the NRC regulation that was going to come, there was a lot of street protests which happened, and farm bills were revoked, and the NRC has gone into cold storage. That has not happened. What are the chances that the way the street protests are happening, CAA you didn't. You stuck by it, it happened, and the protests died down. Maybe because COVID happened or whatever. God knows what the reason was, or the funding stopped for the CAA, for the protests. Nobody knows what happened, but the CA protests fizzled out. But the farm bills went into revoke mode, and NRC went into cold storage. What happens if the current protests against the Waqf bill also becomes widespread? Is there a chance that they would be revoked too?
No, we can't be comparing the farm laws with the Waqf Amendment Act. These are two different things. Here in the Waqf Amendment Act, it is a question of not only ensuring justice to the needy people, but preventing the wrong things, wrongdoings, the illegal acts by some of the people. In fact, I must tell you, for last nearly 8-9 months, I have been receiving numerous delegations from the Muslim community urging urgently to pass this Waqf Amendment Bill. And then finally we passed it. So it's not that we just came out of blue. And the consultation process has been
Then who are the
widespread.
people who are protesting? If you
Protesting is only the opposition parties, those political parties which treat the Muslim community as vote banks. They create, fear mongering. They keep scaring the Muslim community. And from the long time I have been witnessing these people, they don't want Muslim community to develop. They want to keep them isolated, create fear in their mind, and then make them anti-BJP. But many of the Muslim communities are now coming forward. I have met so many Muslim communities, even when I went to Kashmir also, so many, common people. They came, the Muslim women, the influential people also came to me and they said, "They're very well done. The Waqf Amendment Bill passed."
similar to what happened with Article 370 when people in Kashmir came and
Same
said,
thing I had just compared in one of my speech also, that during the abrogation of the Article 370, they said there will be bloodshed in Jammu and Kashmir and some parts of the country. And then when CAA was being considered, they again said that this will lead to snatching away the citizenship status and other rights of the Muslims. Now, nothing such has happened. In fact, the Citizenship Amendment Act has been now a kind of a ground where we are more easily identifiable with those people who are genuinely coming to India and recognize their citizenship, and those illegal are being prevented. And similar in J&K, we are seeing the ushering of peace and development. I was thoroughly enjoying my Kashmir visit, 3 days visit this time. And then it was fantastic, record numbers of tourists, investment and everything's coming.
tourist to chodo na, Rijiju ji, ye batao, what was this? For the 80s generation, this picture has come as an absolute shock. See, my generation, for us, we grew up on tulips, bole to ye wala. है ना? This picture of Amitabh Bachchan and Rekha. Silsila.
Yeah.
And now you have now put this picture in our minds now. So now when we look at tulips, we are going to think of
this
Omar
this
Abdullah.
picture,
And
Omar
Rijiju.
Abdullah and me.
Yeah.
I never imagined that could become a political storm in Kashmir, and the assembly was, totally
The
disturbed.
romance ka to kachra kar diya, but with this.
तबाही कर दिया उन्होंने. See, I went to the Tulip Garden early morning only because in the daytime there will be huge crowd, and here I come with the security and all these officials that will create inconveniences to the visitors. So I went early. I went around 6:50, around 6:50. And when I was there sipping the kawa in the corner gazebo, I suddenly saw both Omar Abdullah Saab and Farooq Saab came on the side, and we encountered. Then we greeted, exchanged pleasantries, and then we just took a picture. We were together for hardly 4 or 5 minutes only.
Yeah, but it's
And
enough.
then there was a statement from some political leader saying that, the chief minister and union minister, hand in hand morning walk in the tulip. And then the assembly was created, like a totally fighting ground. How can they do that? Let's enjoy the beautiful serene beauty of Kashmir.
But the imagery that is coming out of it. So my first thought when I saw this was that ki ye to all our 80s.
I felt bad. And Omar Abdullah is a gentleman. Besides, our
Uh,
political differences, he's a gentleman. In fact, a day before, in the evening, we had a nice program, Lok Samvardhan Parv, which is to create jobs and create markets for the artisans and the local, people, youth people and the traditional people who are engaged in
Yeah.
shopping, marketing and all. And the next day this happened. But it didn't disturb me because I had a fruitful visit to Kashmir and I went
Okay.
around. I visited the factory where the
Yeah. In your official capacity,
yes,
this.
yes.
Yes.
I had an official program, and then of course the officials and all they were very helpful, and I could see the happiness
In
amongst
that.
the
Yeah.
team. But only this incident they made it a political
But let me
issue.
come back to the whole Waqf controversy. I'm sorry, but I'm persisting on this. There's this whole thing about what is going to happen to the Waqf properties. Of course, you mentioned that. But Mr. Owaisi has said that, Barrister Owaisi has said that now Sambhal, Gyanvapi, Mathura, they'll be removed from Waqf control, and there'll be an attempt to seize these because it's sensitive, and other religious properties. And then there are people from, the BJP also, some hotheads saying, "Bas ab to ho jayega
See,
sab kuch."
first of all, I fail to understand how could they connect this Waqf Amendment Act with other religious issues. This Waqf Amendment Act is a continuation, or in a way, it's amending a previous provisions which were in existence. Since 1913, from the British time, the law existed, and post-independence, first law was enacted in 1954. So the Waqf law has been there. The legislative process has been happening pre-independence. And then last amendment was 2013. And that triggered the present step which we have taken. And I don't need to elaborate on those things, but still I would highlight two important points. One is this work by user without the law of limitation being applied, any property can be claimed as work property on the basis of a claim made by an individual that some 100 years back or few years back we used to do certain things, namaz or whatever. You can do namaz anywhere, but that doesn't mean that that particular area becomes a work property. So we have not only checked it, but ensured that misuse or unverified claims must be stopped. So what we have done is that you can create waqf through a deed, not by just oral claim, because once work property means forever waqfed. That is why you have to be extremely careful. So it has to be with a documentation process. You can create waqf. And then, this
And retrospective, wo wala baat?
see, there are some confusion with regards to the retrospective effect. First of all, the law is prospective. Whatever is a declared work property cannot be disturbed. Whether it was worked by user or whatever, if that particular property is declared, suppose, I'll just give you an example. If there was a work by user and the particular property has been declared a waqf property and a document has been created, thereby the state government or the DM has recognized that property and it is registered, then it is done. The case is settled. You are not going to reopen or change the status of that. Only those cases which are pending, under dispute, so they are either pending in the tribunal or under writ. They have made a appeal in the court. These are to be decided by the courts. We can't take away the rights of the courts. So it is prospective. It is not retrospective. However, if there are some kind of issues which are not settled, then state government will decide. So the power is not with the central government.
Okay.
Central government is just forming a central waqf council which is headed by the minister, in this case me. So all this, whether it is to be claimed, reclaimed, counter-claimed by the state government, will be decided by state government. The
But
DM is
why-
under the state government.
Why by you? Why not a Muslim? I mean, if this is about a Waqf council, why a non-Muslim?
Now, the problem is we have 6 minority communities in India by definition. By notification, there are 6 communities. By virtue of being the Minister for Minority Affairs, I presented the bill. So, by virtue of being the Minister, I become the Chairman of the Central Waqf Council. Minority Ministry is not for Muslim. That is what I have been telling from the beginning, that the Congress party had made the Minority Affairs Ministry as a Muslim Affairs Ministry. How unfortunate that is. And then they are talking only about Muslims, leaving aside the other smaller minority communities.
But you have left aside the Muslim community completely, no?
No.
You don't have even one MP.
Though I have been telling in the Muslim areas that please vote for BJP, send Muslim MPs, come to BJP and be part of the government. If Modi ji has got the massive support from the people of the country,
So it's the Muslim
it
community's
is not
fault.
anybody's fault.
So it is the Muslim community's fault that they haven't elected a BJP Muslim.
I would not say fault, but
That's
they
what you're
can-
saying, na? Ki wo log aaye
in
nahi.
a way that is true. But suppose if you don't get elected from Muslim community, what can you do? I can't make somebody elected with my own wishes. I have to have a person who is elected by the people. So that is why some of the objections, I mean, this very bizarre, kind of an argument. They said that the minister who presented the bill is not a Muslim. And on the counter side, I said that I feel fortunate to do something good for the Muslim community. So because of being the Minority Affairs Minister, I have the responsibility to look after the welfare measures of 6 these minority communities. So this argument doesn't stand.
Okay. Let me come to the another thing that happened in this session, which was the Manipur President's Rule debate that happened. 41 minutes debate, and it happens right midnight and things like that.
Yes.
And some
Early morning.
Yeah, early morning, and then people didn't even know some had to come in their pajama and chappal.
See, when I presented business in the Business Advisory Committee, I had informed both the BAC, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that government is bringing the Waqf Amendment Bill, and right after the bill, we will table the ratification of the President's rule in Manipur. It is a pre-decided matter, and the list and the timing all are decided. Now, initially, I said the Waqf Amendment Bill, we can take 6 hours discussion because enough has been deliberated in the JPC. And whatever we have to say, let us say in a concise manner and let us discuss for, say, about 6 hours. Finally, I agreed for 8 hours. But the opposition kept on insisting that no, 12 hours beyond, the chair should take the sense of the House and discuss for a longer period of time. And we acceded to it. So, it is not our fault that the Manipur case came right after the Waqf Amendment Bill because the Parliament was scheduled to run till 4th of April. And the Lok Sabha passed the Waqf Amendment Bill
At midnight. or
midnight. That means it has become
Next day.
3rd. And then we have only 1 day left in Rajya Sabha. If we don't take up immediately, then it is a constitutional obligation that within 2 months, the ratification has to take place when there is a proclamation of President rule. And then after 6 months, it has to be, extended through the discussion in the Parliament. Parliament has to pass it. So these are constitutional requirements. So nobody should blame that we took up the Manipur case in the midnight. It is because of the timing is such.
Okay, but since we are talking about Manipur, can you please tell us currently what is the situation, and do you feel that there's a sense of regret in the government or in the political party also that this should have been managed better?
See, I'm one of the most, affected person because this kind of a narrative has been created which is doing so much of harm to Northeast. You have to understand, after 2014, Northeast is seeing the true lights of development. Barring Manipur incident, every other northeastern region is having great time, especially an era of peace, tranquility, and development. Now, Manipur issue is not a case where government can be, put at test. We are not at fault. Before we came to power in 2014, Manipur used to face blockades, ethnic war, ethnic conflicts, so many incidents happening, and state used to be under, this kind of violence for years and years and years, and thousands have already lost their life.
Yeah.
Did we ever? I have been member of parliament for a long time. Did we ever say that Prime Minister should go there? Why Manipur is happening this and that? And remember, Smitaji, I am telling very important point. Those initial days, all the struggle in the Manipur, all the undergrounds, the militants, they're against the state, against the Indian state. This incident in Manipur is not against the state. It is an unfortunate clash between two communities. It is between the Meiteis and the larger Kuki Zhou group. Very unfortunate. And as a member of parliament, as a senior politician from Northeast, I have told many times to our colleagues and friends, if anybody wants to help Manipur, please say that stop violence. Don't put fuel in a fire by blaming anybody. Don't blame Meiteis, don't blame Kukis, don't blame central government. Just tell them, we will also help, come in and also do whatever is possible. But first of all, you have to cease violence by surrendering the weapons. So, initially when I was a member of parliament, I remember one thing, when Manipur was having a blockade for 4 or 5 months consecutively. Nobody from central government had gone. Then I raised this issue. There was no response from the government. And then once, before that, there was Kuki and Naga clash. And then more than 700 people were killed. And then not even the cabinet minister, the home affairs, the minister of state made a statement, small statement. And who visited? A joint secretary. Forget about the home minister, minister of state or home secretary. A joint secretary visited Manipur, I remember. This time, after the violence, home minister stayed there for 3 days. And he met so many representatives and made an ardent appeal that please surrender the arms. We will ensure that there is peace in the state. Then the minister of state had stayed there for 22 days, which Congress cannot think about. But we never created this kind of situation.
Comparison also.
So here we don't want to compare, but we never had created this kind of narrative when Manipur had, reeled under so much of trouble and turbulence. So now it's becoming normal. The unfortunate trigger point when the judge of the Manipur High Court passed an order. And remember, it was beyond the judicial scope. To declare at a particular community as tribals requires certain traits. They have to fulfill certain criteria which are to be cleared and then assessed by the tribal commission, the RGI, the home ministry, then other ministries which are dealing with the subject. And suddenly the High Court gave an order that within 3 months the particular community should be given tribal status. So that triggered, and within short time, because this was a very emotive issue, for a long time there was lots of differences between Meiteis and Kukis with regard to this tribal issue, where Meiteis have been demanding for a long time. Now the trigger point of this violence, which happened in Churachandpur area and then suddenly spread, was the outcome of the judicial pronouncement. Very unfortunate. And that judge was transferred immediately from Guwahati High Court by the Supreme Court Collegium. So now this is neither a creation of the central government, nor this fight is against the government of India. It is unfortunate between two brothers. So I, as a senior person, I am also the chairman of the Northeast MPs Forum. I also sent an appeal because going there was not possible because the ground situation was very bad.
Yeah.
And then I have been telling everybody that let us not blame each other. And even Meiteis and Kukis, there may be a fault, there may be some kind of shortcomings from both sides. But ultimately, they have to stay together. If any Meitei says that we will not stay with
Cookies.
forever.
Or Nagas.
Or Nagas. Or if Nagas or Meitei, the cookies say they will not stay with Meiteis, that will not happen. After all, we are living in the same region. The fact, the reality is that we have to coexist together. Other than that, there is no alternative.
When
That
are
is a
they-
reality.
There is the humanitarian aspect of it. I mean, I understand the security, I understand the complexity, all that is fine. But there is the humanitarian aspect. How long before those who are living in camps can go back? The children haven't gone back to school. They're in those camps, and it's subhuman conditions. Of course, everything is being done. I understand their security is important, and unless they feel safe, their homes have been burnt down. When is it going to be possible? Is there a time frame to send them back to their villages?
That is the priority of the government, and Prime Minister is personally monitoring the entire issue, and Home Minister Amit Shah ji is leading the entire exercise. He is hands on. And in fact, Home Minister has called both the community leaders to Delhi also. And he is engaging them in a humane manner. And the governor there is also taking
Okay.
the steps, and the chief minister was asked to step down because the situation makes it such that it's better to be under president rule to bring peace. Now, I think the situation is coming back to normalcy. We can't say normal, but it is leading towards normalcy. And there's a talk going on, and some surrendering of weapons are also happening. The budgetary provisions have been provided, and the immediate the requirement and the priority is what you have said, that people who are displaced living in the camps should return back to their own home, the sweet home. That is a priority. And once again, I would like to appeal both the Meiteis and the Cookies that especially we talk about Northeast unity. We talk about the whole Northeastern sisters must live together. How is it that we kill each other in the neighborhood and then we expect somebody to come and help? We can expect help, but first of all, we have to make it conducive within our area that we don't fight with each other. And fight with each other will kill ourselves. We have to understand that. And then the Northeast, we have seen the Northeast burning for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Modi ji has brought in an era of peace and development. Let us not spoil that great effort. And remember, Prime Minister Modi
Part
ji
of
is the
your
first
Act
one.
East policy.
Prime Minister Modi ji is the first Prime Minister who started his Independence Day speech from the Red Fort of India with an appeal to the people of Manipur. If you remember,
And said that's the
2023
first village of the
Yeah.
country is
so
the one there.
2023 Independence Day speech, Prime Minister Modi ji's speech began with his appeal to the people of Manipur and assuring that people of India are with you.
Yeah.
So some people are trying to make political issue and blaming Prime Minister, whereas the root cause of the problem is something else, and we need to get into the
All
root.
that. When we're talking about conflict management from the leadership of the BJP, I have to come to your job, which is also conflict management, to bring about consensus in the parliament when the divisions are so strong. How do you navigate it? Tell me as a person. I'm not now talking about BJP or anything else, but from your own capabilities, what is it that you found or the party found in you to manage this? How do you manage this political divide within?
See, the
the
job
parliament?
of the Parliamentary Affairs Minister is to get through the Parliament with the business. And without government business, Parliament cannot function. Parliament is managed by both the chairman and the speaker, but the entire business and the whole thing of coordination, everything is done by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister. It is challenging, but I am thoroughly enjoying my position, thereby coming across so many different positions taken by different parties and then managing them to get on board. Sometimes we get heated exchange on
Yeah.
the floor and in the Business Advisory Committee. They will visit my house. I will visit senior leaders' house also. So, see, I can understand when Congress party takes a very strong stand, say for appointment of a chairman of a committee, house committee, standing committee, and various other things which are not part of the parliamentary proceeding, but which are outside the house, but which are equally part of the parliamentary traditions. So when we do negotiations outside the house for various other things, we at times stick to our positions and it gets into stalemate. The Congress party would say that, no, we want this position, we want this post, and this is our position, Then I try to open up, let us not be rigid, let us, come into some understanding. So I think these are part of the parliamentary democracy.
Do they walk out gusse mein? Because abhi recently suna that bottle phenka in one of
that
the...
is in the JPC
In the
and all.
JPC.
Normally, Smita ji, you are very senior person, so
Yeah, this is the picture that is there. Ye to nikal aaya na.
that was in the Joint Parliamentary Committee in the that is JPC for
Yeah.
the Waqf Bill.
Yeah.
So,
They get that heated.
well, I am told that when the witnesses are being called to hear them out, some of the members in the JPC who are having a different opinion, they get worked out. So they try to resist the opinion by showing their anger. So my advice to the honorable members is, the committee is there to listen to everybody, whether you like it or not. Listen to everybody.
So do you do this peacemaker ka job in the meeting?
Sometimes they get upset with me also.
Huh. What do they say?
Sometimes I have to push through certain bills, certain business, which are required to be done in a stipulated time.
They get angry with you?
And then they will accuse me of the parliamentary affairs minister is bulldozing with.
In this, there was this very eminent parliamentarian. She said, Kiran Rijiju openly threatens me in Lok Sabha today in complete violation of parliamentary rule and procedure. And she mentions Om Birla ji and says that he will get Rijuju's voice deleted, but no action has been taken. I've written to the IP Parliament against this continued gender harassment and intimidation yet again. Why do you harass women?
No, she is overly worked out. I think she's a young MP from West Bengal. And
You can't hold that against her.
That's
that
what I'm
she's
saying.
young.
She's young, so energetic and all. Let her speak what she wants to speak. I can't prevent her from speaking. That is up to the chair to regulate the proceedings. My only point was, when she was accusing one of our senior minister, there was an inference about one sensitive incident, and she was intelligently trying to link that particular case in a very intelligent way. Then I said that we understand your intention. If need be, we will proceed with certain parliamentary rules to take action. I said that. She got pissed off, and then she
But she also said "Dariye mat" to Prime Minister. She really thinks that the Prime Minister is scared of Mahua Moitra and TMC.
I can say only one thing. I have learned from Atalji also. When you are young, you can speak passionately and then, show your aggression in whatever you want to do it. But there is a thin line which is called respect. If you miss that line, then it will be harmful for the member. If somebody who has a intention of a long parliamentary career, one must be very careful about the words being used and the attitude being displayed in the floor of the House. I have been there since 2004. Of course, 1999 I missed it, and then I went to a commission. So 2004 I came to Parliament, and from that day what I have decided is that I will never use abusive and foul language, especially against the senior. Not only senior, but we should not think and speak ill about our colleagues. We are colleagues in the House. Especially with the seniors, we are there to learn from them. What Atalji said, he used to sit in the last bench, and then slowly he came in the middle, and finally he was sitting in the front. This turn will come for everybody. But if you don't have a long parliamentary career, then you will not get chance to be in the front. That takes time. If you are in a hurry to make your presence felt, if you are in a state of mind that you have no patience, then I don't think it will pay off, because seniority and experience comes with time. You can't chase it and bring it. It comes naturally.
But Rahul Gandhi is a senior person, no? And
Rahul Gandhi is now a senior. We are together. He's a fourth term MP.
but your party and even from the chair they have said that don't sit like this, don't sit like that, and
See, I am nobody to tell Rahul Gandhi to behave in a certain way, but I can definitely point out that anything which is not permissible by the
So
convention,
what
there are
was the-
etiquettes.
he just came and pinched his sister's cheeks, and that also.
No,
was
I don't
not
think
okay.
that's the only case. I mean, there are some gestures, and I'm told some of the media, you must be having the clips in the past. See, even in the house, mother and son, mother and daughter, brothers, husband and wife, there have been many cases. They all have come
Yeah,
together.
even in this
But you don't
session.
display that emotion in the house. No?
Okay.
House is not to display your family emotions and all. House is a sovereign place where you are there with certain purpose. You are there for a purpose.
ओके प्रोप्राइटरी
Yeah,
ब्रीच हो गया
yeah.
अच्छा एक वो भी था वेयर हाँ ये दिस इज टुडेज फंक्शन वेयर all of you are now this look at the camaraderie here no everybody is together you are also there Kharge ji bhi hai Sonia ji bhi hain
Sonia ji is very senior. Kharge ji is senior. Rahul Gandhi is leader of opposition. So I
and then
indicated that they should sit first. I'll sit. I
Yeah.
gave my place to Kharge ji and Sonia ji to sit
Yeah,
where I
to
was
sit.
sitting.
acha you were supposed to sit there
No, I was sitting there.
then you
Then
moved
Sonia
away
ji, Kharge ji and Rahul ji came. So I moved towards the other side. I made them sit where I was sitting because there's a courtesy, no?
and then Rahul ji talking with the CM of
Delhi.
Delhi, and
Yeah.
I think she's introducing herself. If I'm not mistaken, it seems like that she's saying "मैं ये हूँ," and because he didn't say anything, he didn't acknowledge her presence, and then she says namaste, and she acknowledges his. But then there is also that video. I think it is Kalyan Banerjee, where he was mimicking.
That was in bad taste.
Yeah.
That
So
was a
at
very
that
bad
time, his party and all were cheering Jagdeep Dhankar that he was doing this. Rahul Gandhi was videoing him, and
No,
then
that time some of the even Trinamool MPs also stated outside, of course not publicly, that behavior was wrong and he shouldn't have done that.
no, they were all laughing at that time. They were standing with him and they were laughing. But then now he has done to his own party people.
Yeah, I'm told that
That
the video
WhatsApp-
leaked out. I didn't see that, but I was told.
So this is what people common people like us who we elect representatives to parliament, and then when we see them doing comedy
I know.
one act shows,
The conduct
yeah
of the MPs must be impeccable because we are elected people.
Yeah.
We are representing lakhs of people.
so whether it is in the steps of the parliament these things happening or in parliament abhi to thoda kam hua hai where they are not jumping on tables and I think there are very strict rules in the new parliament where you are not allowing that kind of conduct.
See,
to
I
happen.
must tell you one thing. When Advani ji was leader of opposition,
Huh.
I was a very young MP sitting in the last bench. I remember in the morning parliamentary party meeting, Advani ji told us, when we protest, don't cross beyond the half line. We will stand and protest from the other side, not towards the ruling bench. And now that they come all across our side also, and then they keep shouting slogans and all. They prevented Prime Minister from speaking,
But so this is what I wanted to ask you is that are there rules which you people are considering to change or evolve these procedures and the norms so that you have that one it's media driven. It's time for everybody to understand and parliament also to this shall be expunged. Expunge क्या वो तो live telecast में
सुन
चला
लिया।
गया सुन लिया हम लोगों ने अब for the media it's a problem because we have tweeted. We have put it in our feed. It's been tweeted.
Yes.
And then after half an hour, we come to know that it has been expunged. Right?
I
so
know
do we
these
delete it?
difficulties, yeah.
Don't we delete it? What happens?
See, the question of whatever should come out in the public is a matter to be decided in a time-bound manner. I think with the evolution of this digital things,
Yeah.
television, social media. We have to evolve a mechanism. Earlier days, you must be knowing very well, even parliamentary reportings are to be done in a certain manner.
Huh.
And then initially in England also, in Westminster, parliamentary reporting was not allowed.
Yeah.
Whatever discussed inside a house must remain in, it cannot be reported to the public. Later on, the proceeding was
Have changed.
reported by the reporters. When I became member of parliament, some of the reporters I met, they made their journalism, their career through parliamentary reportings. There were huge ethics involved in the reporting. And then whatever were spoken on the floor of the house are also, because it's the property of the house, these are to be kept in a proper manner by expunging the words which are unparliamentary. Now, as you said, once a member speaks out, it is already in the public domain, how effective it is to expunge. So we have to evolve a way out, because the parliamentary system is not about rules and regulations alone. It is about the conventions. If the House decide that we must do in a certain way, which are not necessarily part of the rules, but part of the convention, we can do it. If you see all my records since my early days, I have never stated anything which attracted any rules, which were barred. So I never faced any expunging of the words which are spoken on the house. Secondly, fortunately, I have got the guide of leaders like Advani ji, Vajpayee ji. That time they were there, and then later on Modi ji is there. Then now Modi ji is hands on, so he knows everything and he guides us very well.
Considering that he had never been to parliament till he became prime minister.
Yeah, but Modi ji is absolutely hands on about the rules, regulations, etiquettes, manner, and the duty towards parliament. That is why when he entered the parliament house for the first time, Modi ji bowed down
Yeah.
on the stairs, and then inside he bowed down before the Constitution of India before taking oath. These were not done by anybody else. That is why we credit this celebration of Samvidhan Divas to Modi ji, because when he was chief minister, he started the Samvidhan Gaurav Yatra. When he became the prime minister, he made 26 November as the Samvidhan Divas. Earlier there was no Samvidhan Divas. And then, of course, there are so many things he have done to honor Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar. So these are things which are, setting the course of history in right course, right perspective, and making members like us part of his cabinet and member of parliament. We get to learn so many things. I get to do so much of course correction because of Modi ji's guidance.
You just mentioned Babasaheb Ambedkar, and you were there today in the morning also at that event. The Congress says that the BJP doesn't respect Babasaheb's constitution. It is only the image of Babasaheb, and it wants to appropriate Babasaheb's legacy. And the BJP says the same thing to Congress, that you never respected him, even though he was in the Congress party. Now it's all a question of who's the appropriator of Babasaheb's legacy.
See, Smita ji, let me be very clear on this very sensitive and important topic. If we get into tutu meme, then you will not understand the real issue. You will not come to any conclusion. An issue like the Constitution of India related to Babasaheb Ambedkar cannot be a matter of debate. I am fortunate to sit on the chair where he sat. Babasaheb Ambedkar was law minister till 1951, from 47, and when he was also the chairman of the drafting committee. Then he resigned as the law minister of India in 1951, and he has written a letter why he resigned. We can't change it. His differences with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru is written by Babasaheb Ambedkar, not we. And then he was defeated twice. See, after 1951, Babasaheb Ambedkar wanted to come back to the parliament. First, he was defeated in Mumbai by the Congress party. Secondly, he was defeated in Bandara in Vidarbha by the Congress party. So the differences of Ambedkarji with Nehruji is well known. I'm not going into the differences, which is a matter which, I mean, like, you can go and study, which is there for everybody to see. From 1951 to 1956, Babasaheb Ambedkar was alive, but he was more involved in social works and other things. Now, finally, he decided to embrace Buddhism. Now, there's a long history. I could speak about this subject in detail. Someday in a seminar, I would like to give a very candid observation about what happened at that time and what is my opinion. Now, when I was made the